Good evening, dear viewers. This is the game 7 Days to Die, and I'm Alex to share game. Propose to start today with the story about a group of pilots, continue with the facts about fun pimps, and finish deep in knowledge about the game. In the world of the 7 Days to Die, the zombie apocalypse had taken over the world, and a group of survivors had banded together to try and make it through. They had heard rumors about a group of pilots who were dropping crates with the valuable items, and they knew that they needed to get their hands on them if they were going to have any chance of survival. The pilots were a mysterious group, and no one knew who they were or where they came from. They would fly overhead, and the survivors would watch it as crates filled with all sorts of items, from weapons to food to medical supplies, rained down from the sky. One day, a survivor named Ron decided he was going to try and track down the pilots. He knew it was a risky move, but he couldn't help but feel like there was more to this story than anyone knew. He set out on foot, armed only with a map and his wits, determined to uncover the truth. As he traveled through the desolate landscape, he encountered all sorts of challenges, from hordes of zombies to groups of hostile survivors. But he persevered, driven by an unrelenting desire to uncover the mystery of the pilots. Finally, after weeks of travel, he stumbled upon an abandoned airfield. As he explored the area, he came across a small hidden bunker. Inside, he found a computer terminal that was still functioning. It was filled with data about the pilots and their jobs. Ron knew he had hit the jackpot. He spent hours poring over the data, piecing together the story of the pilots and their mission. It turned out that the pilots were a group of former stage performers who had banded together to help survivors. They used their connections in the entertainment industry to gather supplies and stage items, hoping to bring a sense of normalcy and joy to a world that had lost both. But as Ron read on, he realized something disturbing. The pilots had started to show signs of stress and trauma, and their jobs were becoming more erratic and dangerous. Some of the items they were dropping were not like things for human. Ron knew he had to act fast. He reached out to the other survivors and organized a rescue mission to try and save the pilots before it was too late. They located the pilots' base and found them in a state of complete disarray. They were holed up, surrounded by crates filled with dangerous items, and they were on the brink of collapse. With the help of the survivors, Ron was able to convince the pilots to let them take over the jobs. They promised to continue the pilots' missions and bring a sense of hope and normalcy to a world that desperately needed it. In the end, the survivors were able to recover the remaining items and continue the jobs. They used the crates to build a thriving community, one that was founded on the idea that even in the darkest of times there is always hope, and although the pilots were lost, their legacy lived on, inspiring generations of survivors to come. Later, Ron asked his son Jack to lead this important mission. Jack and the survivors continued to use the data from the computer to make the jobs. They noticed something strange happened and thought it was a glitch in the system. One night, as Jack was working late in the bunker, he noticed a strange symbol etched on the wall. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before. A twisted a gnarled shape that seemed to pulse with a strange energy. As he approached it, he felt a chill run down his spine, and he knew that something eerie and unsettling was going on. Over the next few days, the survivors started to experience strange dreams and visions. They saw the pilots, but they were different, twisted, and distorted. Their faces contorted into grotesque masks. They heard whispers in the dark, voices. They spoke in tongues they couldn't understand. And every night, the symbol on the wall seemed to grow more prominent, pulsing with energy that made their skin crawl. Despite their fear, the survivors knew they had to investigate. They scoured the bunker, looking for any clues that might help them solve the mystery. And finally, they stumbled upon a hidden program in the computer. It was a program that the pilots had been working on its secret, something they had never mentioned to anyone. Jack and the survivors activated it, and suddenly a hidden door opened in the wall. They stepped inside, and what they saw made their blood run cold. The room was filled with strange symbols and arcane runes, and the air was thick with the smell of incense and root. In the center of the room was a pedestal, and on it sat a book that was bound in human skin and filled with pages of strange, esoteric knowledge. The survivors knew that they had stumbled upon something beyond their understanding, something that was both mystic and horrifying, and they knew that they had to be careful, for they delved deeper into the book's secrets. They realized that they were playing with powers that were far beyond their control. As the survivors studied the book, they realized that it held ancient spells and incantations that could open portals to other dimensions. They soon realized that the pilots had been using the portals to gather rare and powerful items from other worlds, but they hadn't realized the true cost of their actions. With each portal they opened, they had unwittingly unleashed dark and sinister forces into the bunker. The survivors knew that had to be careful, but they couldn't resist the pull of the portals. As each group of volunteers stepped through the portal, they disappeared into the unknown, and they never came back. Jack and the remaining survivors knew that they couldn't let this continue, but they were also drawn to the power of the portals. They decided to take a risk and step through the portals themselves, hoping to find some way to close it from the other side. As they entered the portal, they were immediately transported to a dark and twisted realm. The sky was blood red, and the ground was covered in writhing tentacles and pulsing oozing masses. They knew they were in a place that was beyond their understanding, a place of pure horror. They soon realized that they weren't alone. They were being watched by the dark and shadowy figures that seemed to shift and change before their very eyes. They knew that they had to keep moving, but they also knew that they were in grave danger. As they scratched through the strange and twisted landscape, they stumbled upon a group of survivors from previous volunteers groups. They were huddled together, trembling in fear, and they told Jack and his team that they had found a way to close the portal, but it would come at a terrible cost. The survivors explained that the only way to close the portal was to satisfy one of their own, to offer up their life force to power the spell. Jack knew that this was a terrible decision, but he also knew that they had no other choice. They had to close the portal before it was too late. In the end, Jack made a ultimate sacrifice. He stepped forward and offered himself up, knowing that it was the only way to save his friends and the world they knew. As he chanted the ancient spell, the portal began to shrink and to collapse in on itself, sucking Jack and the dark forces back into the abyss. As the survivors returned to the bunker, they knew that they had lost one of their own, but they also knew that they had saved the world from a terrible fate. They vowed never to forget Jack and the sacrifices he had made, and they knew that they would always carry the memory of his bravery with them. This is the first part. Next part about Fun Pimps Corporation. 7 Days to Die has been a commercial success for the Fun Pimps, selling millions of copies worldwide. But the company's founders have always remained focused on their passion for game development rather than on chasing profits. This dedication to their craft has helped to create a company culture at the Fun Pimps that is focused on creativity, innovation, and fun. The company's names reflects this ethos as they strive to create games that are both challenging and enjoyable for players. Looking ahead, the Fun Pimps are continuing to work on new games and new future for 7 Days to Die. They remain committed to their community of fans and to creating games that are both exciting and immersive. One of the things that sets the Fun Pimps apart from other game developers is their willingness to experiment with new ideas and mechanics. 7 Days to Die is a prime example of this, with its unique blend of survival horror and crafting gameplay. The Fun Pimps have also been praised for their dedication to improve the accessibility of their games. They have added features like controller support and colorblind mode to 7 Days to Die, making the game more inclusive for players with different needs. So this is the end of the first part. Next, third part, game tips and knowledge. Build a shooting platform. If you're dealing with a horde of zombies, consider building a shooting platform above your base. The shooting platform can provide a safe place to shoot zombies from, and it can be accessed using a ladder or stairs. Use a stun button. If you're looking for a weapon that can stun zombies, consider using a stun button. The stun button can be crafted using a variety of materials, such as electrical parts and iron, and it can temporarily stun zombies, making them easier to kill. Use a sledgehammer. If you're looking for a weapon that can knock back zombies, consider using a sledgehammer. The sledgehammer can be crafted using wood and iron, and it can knock back zombies, giving you time to reload or switch weapons. Use a rocket launcher. If you're dealing with a particularly touch zombie, such as a zombie bear or a demolisher, consider using a rocket launcher. The rocket launcher can deal massive damage to zombies, but it also uses a lot of ammo, so use it sparingly. Use a gyrocopter. If you're looking for a fast way to travel across a map, consider using a gyrocopter. The gyrocopter can be crafted using a variety of materials, such as duct tape and mechanic parts, and it can fly over zombies and obstacles, making it much faster than walking or riding a bicycle. Use the Iron Good perk. The Iron Good perk allows you to eat raw meat without suffering any negative effects. This can be a great way to save resources and stay healthy, especially if you are in a pinch and don't have time to cook. Build a drawbridge. Portcullis. If you're looking for an extra layers of defense for your drawbridge, consider building a drawbridge portcullis. The portcullis is a metal gate that can be raised and lowered using a lever, providing an additional barrier between you and zombies. Use a silencer. If you're looking for a way to kill zombies without attracting more zombies, consider using a silencer. The silencer can be attached to certain weapons to make them much quieter, allowing you to take out zombies without alerting nearby ones. Use a pain tolerance perk. The pain tolerance perk allows you to take less damage from falls and explosions. This can be a great way to survive in 7 Days to Die, especially if you're dealing with a lot of traps or falling from the high place. Building an electric fence. If you're dealing with a lot of zombies in your area, consider building an electric fence. The electric fence can be powered by a generator or solar panels. It can shock zombies that try to climb over it, dealing damage and slowing them down. Using a Lucky Looter perk. The Lucky Looter perk increases your chances of finding rare items when we're looting. This can be a great way to get valuable resources and weapons, especially if you're struggling to find good loot. Use exploding crossbow bolts. If you're looking for a way to take out multiple zombies at once, consider using exploding crossbow bolts. Their bolts can be crafted using duct tape, gunpowder, and feathers. When they hit a zombie, they explode, dealing damage to the surrounding area. Use barbed wire. Barbed wire can be a great way to slow down zombies and provide an extra layer of defense for your base. You can craft barbed wire using scrap iron and wood and place it around your base or strategic locations to slow down zombies. Okay, this is the end of the search part. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.